what truly haunts us? I mean, is it really the unseen specter, the monster with glowing eyes? Or is it something maybe closer to home, like a whisper from our own minds?
That's a fascinating question to start with.
Right. And today we're diving deep into an anime series that, well, it masterfully grapples with exactly that. Mononoke.
Ah, Mononoke, a truly unique piece.
Absolutely. This isn't just your standard horror fare. Mononoke is visually stunning, profoundly different. It takes all this rich, traditional Japanese folklore
The classic tales.
and weaves it into this incredible psychological journey. So our mission for this deep dive is basically to explore the show's folkloric roots, its structure, that really distinctive art style.
And how it all ties together.
Exactly. All to uncover how it just brilliantly dissects the darkest corners of the human heart. We'll see how it turns these terrifying spirits into really deep psychological case studies.
Revealing something about ourselves in the process.
That's the goal. So, okay, let's set the stage. Because to really get the monsters in Mononoke, we kind of need a quick refresher on the landscape of Japanese supernatural beings.
Yeah, the terminology can be a bit nuanced.
For sure. I mean, if you're steeped in the folklore, the differences are probably clear. But it's important to lay this out to see how Mononoke plays with these ideas. So how would you break down the difference between, say, a yūrei and a yōkai in the traditional sense?
Okay, good place to start. So while both are supernatural, right, their origins and their nature are pretty different, yūrei, well, they're essentially spirits of the dead. Think Western ghosts, basically.
Right, like someone with unfinished business.
Exactly. They're typically tied to the physical world by some powerful, unresolved emotion, revenge, maybe deep sorrow, an unfulfilled goal, and they usually appear to specific people.
Okay, so yūrei are personal ghosts, tied to human death and emotion. What about yōkai then? That term seems to cover a lot more ground.
It really does. Yōkai is a much broader category. It's kind of a catch-all for, well, strange phenomena, apparitions, supernatural beings that are not spirits of dead humans.
So anything weird that isn't a ghost?
Pretty much. That includes animals that transform, like the bakaneko, the changed cat, or kitsune, the foxes, even objects that gain a spirit, or, nature spirits. The key thing is, while a yōkai can definitely be dangerous, its existence isn't necessarily born from human tragedy. It's often just a part of the world, maybe a weird part, but not necessarily personal.
A feature, not a bug. Or maybe sometimes both.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay, so yūrei, yōkai, and then we get to the classical Mononoke. That word itself just feels heavier, older. Historically, particularly back in the Heian period, what did Mononoke mean?
You're right, it does carry this heavy historical weight. Back then, Mononoke specifically referred to vengeful spirits, and this could be both living spirits ikiri, like a powerful projection of someone's hatred, and spirits of the dead, shiri.
Living spirits.
Wow. Yeah, intense stuff. These entities would possess people, causing suffering, illness, sometimes even death. But what's really fascinating is the etymology. Originally, Mononoke meant the affliction itself.
The sickness, not the spirit causing it.
Exactly. It was a sickness caused by a mono, the spirit or entity. Only later did the term sort of broaden to include the spirit itself. So right from its roots, Mononoke was tied to this idea of spiritual or emotional imbalance manifesting physically, an internal problem becoming external.
That is a crucial distinction. Okay, so if that's the history, how does the anime take this powerful ancient concept and, redefine it?
Yeah.
What's the show's specific take?
Right. The anime gives us a very precise, very powerful definition that builds on that history. In the show, a Mononoke is explicitly a composite entity.
Composite.
Meaning it's formed when a pre-existing unnatural spirit, what the show calls an ayakashi, sort of a general term for troublesome spirits, merges with intense negative human emotions.
Ah, so it needs both parts, the spirit and the human emotion.
Precisely. We're talking deep grudges, overwhelming regret, fear, that kind of burning, unquenchable passion or obsession the Japanese call genin.
Wow. So the Mononoke isn't just some external demon dropping in. It's literally born from us, from our suffering.
That's the core of it. It immediately tells you the horror isn't purely external. It's a manifestation of human pain, externalized, but given monstrous form because of that internal state.
So the real horror isn't the spirit.
It's the unresolved human trauma that attracted it, that gave it shape and power. This really echoes those historical Japanese beliefs linking spiritual problems with physical illness. The anime's Mononoke is like the ultimate psychosomatic condition.
A psychological wound attracting a spiritual parasite, basically.
That's a good way to put it. It becomes this literal, externalized, and often lethal force.
And that completely changes how we see the protagonist, the medicine seller. He's not your typical action hero, is he? He's so enigmatic. What's his actual role when facing these things?
He's definitely not a warrior in the usual sense. He's more like a diagnostician, a therapist maybe, even a spiritual surgeon.
A surgeon, I like that.
His main goal is to meticulously uncover the root cause, the human failing, the deep emotional truth at the heart of this illness before he can even draw his sword.
So each story is fundamentally a human tragedy.
Exactly. Focused on our weaknesses, our flaws, the things that make us suffer.
Which brings us neatly to the core mechanic of the show.
Yeah.
The anatomy of the exorcism itself. It's not just swinging a sword. He has this rigid ritual, right? His sword of exorcism stays sealed.
It does. It's inert, completely useless, until 3 crucial aspects of the Mononoke are revealed.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. He needs these 3 specific keys. What are they, and how do they kind of peel back the layers of the mystery?
Right, 3 keys to unlock the sword's power. The first is Katachi, which means form.
Form, like its shape, what it looks like.
Exactly, the physical shape, appearance, the identity of the Mononoke. This is identifying the spirit, maybe recognizing its folkloric basis. It's the surface level.
Okay, Katachi, the form. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Identify the monster. But then comes Makoto, the truth. How is that different from just seeing the form? Isn't the form part of the truth?
That's a great question. Makoto goes deeper. It's the objective truth of the events that led to the Mononoke's creation.
The backstory, basically.
Yes, but the factual, objective backstory, uncovering the circumstances, the buried secrets, maybe hidden crimes, the human drama behind it all. The medicine seller acts like a detective here.
Sifting through lies.
Exactly. Piecing together the true history. It's the how and the who behind the what.
Okay, form, truth, and then Kotowari. Reason or maybe regret. This sounds like the deepest layer, the real why.
It absolutely is. Kotowari is the subjective emotional core. It's the ultimate psychological diagnosis.
So Makoto is what happened. Kotowari is why it mattered so much to someone.
Precisely. It's the motivation, the profound passion, the inconsolable grudge, the desperate desire fueling the spirit. It's understanding the emotional landscape that birthed the monster.
Wow.
And, this whole framework, Katachi, Makoto, Kotowari, it functions a lot like a psychoanalytic investigation.
Yeah, I can see that, like peeling an onion.
Right. And it even has echoes in concepts like Sanamitsu, the 3 secrets of body, speech, and mind from esoteric Buddhism. So there are these spiritual and psychological layers.
So the sword of exorcism, it's not just a weapon. You called it an infallible arbiter of absolute truth. It only works when the psychology is laid bare.
That's the idea. It only activates when both Makoto, the objective truth of events, and Kotowari, the subjective emotional truth, are fully exposed.
Meaning the climax isn't really a fight.
It's a psychological breakthrough, a moment of confession or realization or acceptance. Truth itself becomes the weapon, the ultimate power against these inner demons made manifest.
Yeah, such a powerful reframing of exorcism. Truth, not violence.
Exactly. And while this structure, this 3-step process, seems predictable,
It never feels repetitive, does it?
not at all. Because the human variables, the lies, the fears, the desires are infinitely complex. Each arc uses this structure as a kind of moral pressure cooker, forcing the truth out in really compelling ways.
Okay, with that framework form, truth, reason, let's look at some actual case studies. Because Mononoke is just brilliant at adapting specific Japanese folklore, right? Twisting them into these psychological metaphors.
Absolutely. It takes the core idea of a folk creature and reinterprets it.
Let's start with the Zashiki Warashi. What's the traditional story and how does the anime flip it?
Okay, traditionally Zashiki Warashi are child spirits, like household gods from the Trishoku region. They bring good fortune.
But if they leave, the house falls into ruin, right?
Right. And there's often this tragic undertone, theories linking them to Mabiki infanticide during famine. The anime really leans into that tragedy.
How so?
The arc is set in a former brothel. And the Mononoke, well, they're the collective spirits of countless aborted infants.
Oh, wow. That's dark.
It is. And their Kotowari, their reason, it isn't malice. It's this heartbreaking desire to be born. They're drawn to the pregnant protagonist not to harm her, but because she represents the life, the maternity they were denied.
So it shifts from luck and fortune to the fundamental value of existence itself.
Exactly. It becomes about Lost potential, collective trauma, the weight of those unspoken tragedies.
That's incredibly poignant. Okay, from that, let's go to the umibuzu, the sea monk. Traditionally, that's a big, scary ocean monster, right? Smashes ships, pure external threat.
Classic maritime folklore, yeah. A giant, dark, humanoid figure representing the raw, overwhelming power of the sea.
But Mononoke turns that inward, doesn't it?
Completely. The umibuzu arc internalizes the horror brilliantly. The characters are adrift, but not really on a physical ocean. They're trapped in a psychic space, a sort of pocket dimension.
The Dragon's Triangle.
Which turns out to be the mind of one of the passengers, a monk named Genki. The Mononoke they face is actually Genkai's own darker side, born from his repressed emotions.
What emotions? What's the Makoto there?
The truth is he harbored forbidden, incestuous feelings for his sister. And worse, he was secretly relieved when she was chosen as a human sacrifice to calm the seas.
Oh, man. That's heavy guilt.
Exactly. His unacknowledged guilt literally poisoned that psychic space, creating the deadly Ayakashi Sea. The medicine seller even tells him, never look at or think about the dark sea which exists within yourself. The monster is his own inner ocean of corruption.
A terrifying metaphor for repressed guilt. Okay, next. The Naparabo, the faceless ghost. That one's inherently psychological even in folklore, right? The shock of seeing a blank face where features should be.
Yeah, Lafcadio Hearn's Mujina story really captured that existential horror. It dissolves your sense of reality, often just a trickster animal in disguise in the old tales.
So how does the anime use that facelessness?
As a powerful metaphor for the erasure of identity, particularly for women under societal pressure, the main character, Ochu, is married into this cruel samurai family.
Right, the one where she has to be completely subservient.
Exactly. She suppresses her own desires, her personality, so completely that she essentially kills herself, metaphorically. The Mononoke isn't really an external entity attacking her. It's a manifestation of her psychological state, her desperate, long-suppressed wish for freedom and identity.
So the exorcism is her reclaiming herself.
It's a psychological reclamation, yeah. Finding her face again, literally and figuratively.
Amazing. Okay, from identity theft to obsession. The new, now that's a weird creature in folklore. Monkey head, tanuki body.
Tiger limbs, snake tail, a real chimera. Its cry was a terrible omen, supposed to cause illness, symbolized chaos, basically.
So how does Mononoke handle such a bizarre composite creature?
It abstracts the composite nature. In the new arc, the Mononoke isn't actually a beast. It's centered around the Tudaiji, a legendary piece of Ranjatai incense wood.
Just a piece of wood.
Yeah, but one believed to grant immense power or status, so it's intensely coveted. The new is the wood, or rather, the obsession surrounding it. Its identity is a chimera built from centuries of human greed, ambition, and murder projected onto this inanimate object.
So the Mononoke is the human desire itself.
Pretty much. Its Kotowari, its reason for existing, is simply to perpetuate the cycle of desire, betrayal, and murder that gives it meaning and power. It's a sharp critique of how we imbue things with value and let that value destroy us.
Chasing false value, literally creating a monster out of it. Okay, one more. The Bakaneko, the changed cat. Folklore-wise, that's often a revenge story, right? Cat avenging its master.
Yeah, that's a common trope. The Nabashima Bakaneko disturbance is a famous example. A cat gains powers with age, often linked to loyalty and vengeance.
And the anime brings this into a more modern setting.
It does. The Makaneko arc, which actually bookends the series, appearing first in the prequel Ayakashi, samurai horror tales, and then revisited in Mononoke itself, transposes the revenge narrative to, 1920s Taisho-inspired Japan, on subway train, no less.
Modern setting, ancient spirit.
Exactly. The Mononoke here is born from the violent death of a young woman, Ichikawa Setsuko. She was a journalist about to expose a corruption scandal involving the city mayor and other powerful men.
And they silenced her.
Murdered her. Her spirit, full of righteous anger and grudge, fuses with a stray cat she might have encountered. Her Kotowari is this powerful sense of injustice against modern systemic evil, the corruption, the misogyny. She traps all the complicit parties on that train car.
So the traditional folk spirit adapts to fight modern social ills.
Precisely. It shows these ancient forces aren't just relics. They can reflect and critique contemporary darkness, too.
Looking across these arcs, there's a definite progression, isn't there? From very personal sins and infanticide in the brothel, Genki's lust toward these bigger, more societal or abstract evils, like the news critique of materialism or the Bacaneco's fight against corruption.
There absolutely is. It suggests that while the specific shape of human darkness might evolve with society,
the underlying emotions, the potential for creating monsters, remains constant.
Exactly. It's a powerful statement on the timelessness of the human condition, our capacity for both great good and terrible darkness, regardless of the era.
And you can't talk about Mononoke without talking about the look of it. It's just unlike anything else. That visual style is so integral.
Completely. It's not just background art. It's a core part of the storytelling. When you first see it, you know this is different.
How does that ukiyo-e-inspired style, that picture world, as they call it, actually reinforce the themes we've been discussing?
Well, think about the techniques. It uses flatness, a deliberate lack of realistic shadow, just like old woodblock prints.
Right. Everything feels very present, very surface level almost.
Exactly. Consistent, almost dreamlike lighting, rich textures that look like handmade washi paper, symbolic use of color, those distinct blue outlines. It's all very deliberate.
And that's not just for aesthetics.
Not at all. By rejecting photorealism, by getting rid of naturalistic shadows where things can hide, the art style itself signals that this world operates on a different logic, a symbolic, emotional logic. The world looks like a psychological plane because, in essence, it is one for the story.
It forces you to read it metaphorically.
Precisely. The surreal visuals directly reflect the warped internal states of the characters caught up in the Mononoke's influence.
And the sound design is just as unique. The score, the use of silence, it's incredible.
Yasuharu Takanashi's score is phenomenal. It's this brilliant fusion, isn't it? Traditional Japanese instruments, taiko drums, koto, shakuhachi flute, the nokan flute.
Yeah, all that texture.
Blended seamlessly with Western elements like harpsichord or violin. And the tracks themselves map onto the narrative arc of confronting a Mononoke. There are themes for the eerie prelude, the anguish, the confrontation, the resolution.
It guides you emotionally through the process.
It really does. And beyond the music, the sound design is key. It's often incredibly minimalist.
Lots of silence, like deep, heavy silence.
Yes. And that silence isn't just emptiness. It's an active element, like in traditional No or kabuki theater. It creates this incredible tension, representing unspoken truths, suffocating secrets.
And then suddenly, these sharp sounds break it.
Exactly. Those sudden sharp diegetic sounds, a bell chime, the clack of wooden blocks, a sliding paper door they hit like psychological shocks. They mirror that intrusion of a buried thought, a painful truth finally surfacing.
Wow. It all works together so cohesively, the story, the art, the sound, to create this intense psychological space.
It's a masterclass in using the medium.
So wrapping this up, Mononoke really stands out, doesn't it? It uses the supernatural, these folk creatures, not just for scares, but as this deep, profound way to explore the human condition itself.
Absolutely. It constantly reminds us that the most terrifying monsters aren't necessarily out there. They're born within us, forged from our passions, our regrets, the traumas we don't confront.
And the medicine seller's whole process. It's not about destroying the monster so much as understanding it.
Exactly. His journey is an exorcism rooted in understanding. It suggests that by giving Katachi form to our fears,
naming them,
uncovering the Makoto, the truth of how they came to be,
facing the facts,
and finally accepting the Kotowari, the reason, the emotional core of our pain. That's how we dispel the ghosts that haunt us, internally and externally.
Salvation through truth, even when it's ugly.
That seems to be the message. Confronting the truth is the path forward.
So, thinking about all this, maybe the real question Mononoke leaves us with isn't whether you're ready to face a monster, but whether you're ready to face the truth, the messy, painful human truth that created it in the first place. That's definitely something to chew on.